Welcome back. Pastor R. Dallas Green, Amir Rashidian here, and we're continuing a conversation that we started 2 episodes ago, I believe. And today we're going to take just a little bit of a turn, but we're going to be bringing it back. And lots of useful, practical things you can put into action. And hopefully you've been doing all the other stuff like sleeping 7 hours and working on healthy habits. So
my goal is to work up to 7 hours, Dr. Amir.
yeah,
Not quite there yet.
no, it's not easy.
Once in a while, I have a breakthrough.
Yeah, exactly. I have not had 7 hours. I'm working on it still, but that's a commitment I'll keep working on.
So I'd like to begin with a question of what has power over you? Does somebody or something have power over us? And how do we give our power away? The cell phone has changed our culture. We used to talk face to face like this, like Dr. Amir and I are talking.
That's right.
Now we talk on our cell phones.
Yeah.
We sometimes go to bed with our cell phones. If you go to any bus stop, you'll see kids, middle school, high school kids looking at their cell phones.
Oh yeah.
Any restaurant, people don't really talk and eat anymore. They just look at their cell phone.
That's right.
I would say that to some degree the technology has some power over us. And then the internet has changed our culture. We're living in this information age. We often, in a conversation, we'll just Google it or just check out my website.
That's right.
Patients, I'm sure, come to the doctor and say,
yes.
I've looked at the internet on this issue, and now sort of I'm an expert.
That's right.
Now, you've got a college education and then a doctor's degree and all the experience you've got, clinical experience.
Right.
But yet I've gone on the internet and now I read an article.
That's right.
It's just absurd that we would think that we have more knowledge than the doctor.
Right.
Technology makes us, we get to be the master of our technology. We have become a slave to our technology.
Unfortunately, yes.
And not the masters of it.
Yes.
So, I asked the question, what has power over us? Angry people sometimes have power over us. I grew up around a lot of angry people. And, I'd rather be at peace, but sometimes it seemed as if we were at war with each other.
Right.
And sometimes, a person can be angry, and what's going through my mind is, what did I do to make them angry?
Yeah.
What do I need to make peace with them? Because that's sort of controlling my mind. I wonder, am I powerless over my behavior?
A lot of people say yes to that.
If I am powerless, how do I become responsible, Dr. Amir?
Yeah.
I think we have certain God-given desires. Like we have a desire to eat and drink and sleep and sex. And somewhere in the journey, we discover things like alcohol. We are offered a beer.
Yeah.
And then we discover this alcohol kind of changes my mood, makes me more relaxed, chills me out. But then we discover over time that, I don't drink alone, I drink with people, so it's social and we enjoy that. And we start drinking with our friends, and so we have a beer or two, and then we have 3 or 4. And what happens is our tolerance begins to increase. And maybe also our denial of this thing is taking power over me. If we're honest, we long for a 6-pack in the fridge or look forward to the next party where we can overindulge. An addiction to any substance, it's to any substance or behavior onto which we're becoming dependent.
Right.
That's interfering with our lifestyle.
Right.
And I just wonder, what is it that I've become addicted to? We've been talking a lot about healthy habits, and I think the average person in America now watches television about 4 hours a day.
Yeah. That's quite a bit.
We've become addicted to television.
Yeah.
Or to, Netflix.
Yes.
Or to the internet.
Yeah.
So it seems as if we've allowed ourselves to become addicts to things that are unhealthy to us.
Right.
So if I've surrendered myself to anything, how do I change? How do I introduce change into that
Right.
equation?
Take your power back.
Take your power back. Alcoholics Anonymous, they have a saying where, I am my name is, and I am an alcoholic. Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to make an assertion of the truth. But I don't believe that a person has to be an alcoholic the rest of their life. They may struggle with alcohol, but I believe there's a deliverance from alcohol, or freedom from alcohol.
Right.
Getting at this, the Apostle Paul, he said these words. He said, I do not understand what I do.
I know this passage well.
For what I want to do, I don't do. And what I hate, I do. Now, I think it's amazing. It actually is comforting me that here's this great man who had lots and lots of self-control at time.
Right.
But here he's struggling with control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't understand what I do. Some people believe, well, maybe he was a golfer because the things he wanted to do, he didn't do. The things he didn't want to do, he did. But I just wonder, if you've been eating healthy, for a week, and then somebody brings in a dozen donuts, and there's sprinkles on them, and glazed donuts, and cake donuts, and chocolatey Claire donuts, and you begin to eat some of them, and then you kind of finish it off with a cinnamon roll. And what happened to our self-control in that moment? Something seems to have overtaken us.
Yes.
There's a pattern in my life of eating those donuts.
Last time we talked about how if I instantly ballooned out into a 400-pound ill person, and just by the first bite of that donut I took, I wouldn't touch it. I think the same goes with this.
Yes.
If I knew the detrimental effects of breaking that promise to myself had on me, I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
See, if you had a friend who constantly came up and said, I promise I'll be there tomorrow, and they didn't show up, and they did it again 2 more times, after that 3rd time, how much confidence do you have in that person?
Actually, I'm working with a young man right now. He's got such a woman in his life, and she's promised to meet him, and she's not shown. He's beginning to lose confidence in the relationship.
Yeah. Now, and really, like 2 or 3 broken promises, you stop believing that person.
Yeah.
But how many times have we broken promises to ourselves?
We don't think about that.
We don't, but the detrimental effects accrue and accumulate.
Yeah.
You see, and you go, okay, I need more self-confidence. Well, the only way to have self-confidence is to keep promises you make to yourself. That's where confidence comes from. And the best way to destroy your self-confidence is to break another promise to yourself. Where you say, tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And when that alarm goes off, if you hit the snooze button, you just broke another promise to yourself.
You don't trust yourself, so someone needs to wake you up.
That's right.
Or put another alarm.
That's right.
So yes, I think we don't think much about the promises we make to ourselves. Have you made some promises to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, one promise is I'll always do my back and neck exercises every morning, so I do that. But then I make a promise to myself that I'm not going to yell at the kids, but I yell at them. So I break that one a lot, and so that's a work in progress. But from a healthy standpoint, when it comes to certain food, I have certain days where I eat very strict. And those days I decide on in advance, and I say, for example, on Tuesday and Thursday this week, these are the only foods I'm allowed, and I'm not going to do anything else. And I'm very strict with that. And for me, that one's easier. That doesn't seem to be a weakness for me. I can easily say no. And then also because I know there are certain days during the week where I'm okay to have a little bit of this or a little bit of that may not be so healthy, and I budget for that. Kind of like we budget for something that we want to spend money on.
Yeah.
We go, okay, as long as I've paid all my bills, I've paid my tithe, and I've saved money, I have this much. I'm gonna have fun with this much money, and that's budgeting. So we can budget our calories and say I'm gonna budget so that on Friday afternoon I can have, a birthday cake, or something like that.
Yeah. See, for me, indulgence is maybe having several servings of spinach or broccoli. That's stuff I like to eat.
I do too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm really free if I give myself a lot of it. But I think Paul was saying here, I don't understand myself.
Yeah.
I can't figure myself out. I don't really get me.
Yeah.
What's going on inside of me? Like, why do I do the things I do?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you're talking about here is more intentionality to my life of like making decisions about what's going to be in my Tuesdays and Thursdays. And what am I going to eat before I sit down at the table to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Deciding ahead of time.
Yeah.
And holding yourself to that promise.
And then I think Paul is saying, I made a decision in advance that I wasn't going to, for example, I wasn't going to look.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to indulge. I wasn't going to fantasize. But then the one thing I said I wouldn't do, I did.
Yes.
And the thing I hate to do is the thing that I do.
And I am so disappointed with myself.
Right. So we're not alone then. So if
we're
Paul
fellow
struggled with
strugglers.
this, that's right.
Well, I think it's easy to get down on yourself because I thought I was stronger,
Mm-hmm.
or I thought I was tougher, and I thought I had more resolve, more discipline.
Yeah.
But what I do is that's an area of growth in my life. So I think you're going to encounter times in your life where this is really a growth area. Like, I find that something's taking control over me, and I need to take the control back. I need to make decisions toward a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah. I've heard it said logic and emotion will not occupy the same space at the same time.
Yeah.
So if we're emotional, we fail to be logical. And if we're logical, we can't have emotions get in there. And I think that's part of what happens is the night before when we make those promises to ourselves, logic is speaking. And then when the cheesecake is in front of us, emotions take over, and it just seems like emotions are very powerful, and somehow we need to see that.
Yeah, I came to the office for a recording just before this, and we had a birthday celebration. I hadn't planned to eat birthday cake or ice cream, but it was so delicious.
It was great. You guys missed out.
Pushing on, Paul says, as it is no longer I myself who do it, but it is sin living in me. Mm. What he's saying is that he's not denying responsibility,
right?
But he's saying he's not saying he's not responsible for his actions because he is in a battle, and the battle is the battle of the mind. The battlefield really is not Antietam or Gettysburg, Dr. Amir. The battlefield is the mind.
Yeah.
Of what I allow myself to think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I liken it to this, like somehow, Dr. Amir, the wires have gotten crossed.
Yes.
Some years ago, I was down at my brother-in-law's house, and he was complaining about the rheostat in his chandelier, and it wasn't working well, but he bought a new one. And I had another brother-in-law there who had an engineering degree, and he says, we can repair this. So we turned the electricity off, we took the rheostat down, we looked at the wires, we attached a new one on. It went on for about 10 seconds, and every light in the house went out. You probably can imagine what happened. The wires had crossed.
Yeah.
And now there was a huge problem. It seems as if our wires have gotten crossed. We need to uncross them to be able to take responsibility for ourselves. Because we are a mess. And we as Paul says, there's a problem inside of me. And Jesus wants us to deal with that. Jesus said, if you hold in my teachings, you really are my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. What we really want for you is experience freedom.
That's right.
No longer be a slave to something or a slave to someone.
Yes.
But to experience freedom.
That's right.
To be truly free.
Yeah.
We hear this beautiful gospel. The gospel tells us that, we're more sinful than we ever imagined, but we're also more loved than we ever dreamed. That the love of God, the grace of God is greater than our sin.
Yes.
And he gives us the power to overcome.
That's right.
So the battle is being waged in our minds between truth and falsehood.
Yes.
we think that we can eat the Snickers bar or the cheesecake and really have no consequences. And that's when the Bible says that God is not deceived. God is not mocked. For a man reaps what he sows. We ultimately will reap what we sow.
Yes.
Not maybe today,
Right.
but in due season.
Yes.
It will come back around.
That's the scary part.
Yes. Yes. So what truths, Dr. Amir, do you think our listeners need to hear? That the truth will set us free. We want to see our people step into freedom, but they need to step into the truth first to find the freedom.
Well, it's almost like the concept of self-limiting beliefs, where we have certain beliefs that limit us, like what you mentioned earlier, which is, that guy made me angry.
Mm-hmm.
When I was driving, he pulled out in front of me, and he made me angry, and that's why I'm so angry right now, and that's why I can't calm down.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, at that moment, let's say, or I might be saying, my kids make me so angry, so I'm giving my power to them, right? And I go, why? Because they won't go to bed when they're supposed to go to bed, right? And it takes us so long to get them into bed. So my belief might be that they make me angry. But believe it or not, at that moment, when Amir is angry and getting ready to yell at his kids, if Pastor R walks into my house, guess what'll happen? Oh, hello, Pastor R. Welcome. Hey, everybody, look, Pastor R's here. We are a perfect family. Everybody's calm. Everybody is happy. Why? Because Pastor R just walked in, right? So does that mean I had no control over my behavior? Does that mean that the kids made me angry and they're the cause and the power over me? That's not the case, clearly, because the minute my pastor walked in, smile came on my face and I changed, right? I probably inside still have the ability or the potential to get angry because of what was going on before you walked in.
Yes.
But because a pastor is in the room, I'm going to be at my best behavior, which proves I do have control over my behavior.
You do. And I think sometimes we shift the blame to someone else and we say, he puts me in such a bad mood.
Yeah.
Or she makes me so angry. Or these kids just really are getting under my nerves.
Yes.
So it's like we want something else to be responsible when we are responsible for ourselves.
Right. Exactly right.
Nobody can make you angry.
Exactly right. No one can make you angry. You become angry. You choose to become angry. You choose to stay angry. When you carry that around, we voluntarily give away our power.
Yes. So when Jesus talks here about, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, Jesus himself became angry. He became angry, righteously angry, when people were in his Father's house.
Yes.
And, fleecing the people and selling the animals that were not great. He became angry and began clearing out the temple courts of the merchants, with a whip, turning over their tables.
Yeah.
He was pretty angry, Dr.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But his anger kind of motivated him into a righteous action.
Yes. Well, that's, it's kind of like the concept of there's two sides to every coin. Or another phrase I've heard is every strength has a shadow and every weakness has a shield. Right? So there's certain weaknesses that'll protect us. And like sometimes fear is a good thing because we won't do something dangerous. And every strength has a shadow that can cast on us that's bad for us. So in this case, when we get angry, we can use that energy from the anger to do something awful, like insult someone that doesn't deserve it, or put your fist through the wall and hurt yourself, or we can use it for good, and that may be what Jesus is demonstrating is. Anger is an emotion that I gave you, but it's how you use it. It could be a tool. That emotion can be a tool to motivate you. You could say, I'm angry about my current health situation, and I'm going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go through and you throw away all the junk food in your house. Mm-hmm. And then you go and buy only healthy food and pack the cupboards in. And you just become resolved that nothing is gonna change that. And if you ever make a mistake,
you're going to get right back on track without guilt or shame, because those things can derail you tremendously. So, or you allow the anger to make you do something harmful, like self-inflicting wounds on ourselves, which is, I'm so angry, I'm just going to go eat a whole bucket of ice cream by myself.
Yeah, there's another passage I want to share the time we have left of Paul. Now, Paul learned something about this battle of the mind. And this is what he says. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of this world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. We take every thought captive to make it obedient to Christ. So, we're going to have, there's so much to be said, that God has the power to, the word there is dunamis, meaning dynamite, explosive power. It's the power to demolish something, to crush something. So what are we crushing? We're crushing a stronghold.
Yes.
The stronghold is this fortress around false beliefs.
Yes.
And then when that fortress comes down, we find freedom. He says that we are demolishing these arguments against the knowledge of God and taking captive every thought. So here comes the thought, Dr. Amir. My kids are making me angry. I'm going to take that thought captive.
Yes.
And here's the truth. The truth is, I can love my kids and speak truth into their life and not yell at them.
Or the reason I want them to go to bed is for my own selfish desires of wanting to go sit down in front of the TV for 4 hours and do nothing productive. So I want to get rid of the kids so I can do that. You know, that's the truth. And when we see that, then we start to see. We also may be thinking that, you know, those kids just want to spend more time with me.
That's true. I think that's probably true.
Yeah. And they don't want to go to bed, so they're going to resist. And maybe I say, all right, let's play for 5 minutes, and maybe we can all be okay with that.
So there's a boundary. Let's say the boundary is 8 o'clock, it's bedtime. But let's say that night the kids aren't sleepy and you have the time to play with them. Maybe you can extend it, you know, beyond that time to enjoy them for a few moments, wear them down, but then get them to bed.
That's right. That's right.
I would imagine, Dr. Amir, that your children are like you, that they don't need as much sleep as the average human being. We want them to get to sleep.
We do.
My kids would bring their homework downstairs where Debbie and I was, and they just would like to do their homework, you know, with us, near us.
Oh, wow.
So and we just never ever watched television when they were growing up. Just like we just would be together as a family.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah.
But take it captive, make it obedient to Christ.
Yeah. You know, I heard it said that thoughts are like birds that land in your tree.
Yes.
So you can allow them to land on your tree for a second, but don't allow them to build a nest.
Yes.
Shoo them away. And that can be any thought. It might be a lustful thought. It might be a thought about greed or envy or jealousy.
Yeah.
Those are the thoughts that come in, or thoughts of giving our power away, or thoughts that result from an emotion like anger, or guilt. And so those are all birds that can fly by. They can land on your tree. Don't allow them to build a nest.
If you want to change your life, change your thoughts, because your thoughts lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your habits, and your habits form your character, and your character forms your destiny.
That's right.
So it all begins back to the thoughts. So maybe it's a little bit of an inventory of what have we been thinking about recently?
Yes.
What's been on our minds?
Right.
Have I been telling myself the truth?
Right.
Or if I'm believing a lie?
Yes.
The lie is that I can just do whatever I want without any consequences.
Yes.
The truth is, I reap what I sow. The lie is someone else is responsible on the highway for my anger. The truth is I'm responsible. The lie is someone has power over me. The truth is I have the power within me.
Yes.
Jesus said you'll know the truth, and the truth is going to set you free. We want our people to step into freedom.
That's right. That's right. And David's prayer of, Lord, show me my anxious thoughts.
Yes.
That is a psalm, right? Show me my anxious thoughts. That's a prayer that we should be praying, because sometimes we we have thoughts we're not aware of, we have beliefs we're not aware of, and they rule us. And we ask God to show us what those thoughts are,
Yes.
so we can take them captive.
Take them captive. Find freedom. Thank you, Dr. Amir.
Thank you. Great job. Thanks, everybody.
Well, that's a little bit of a sermon.